Hello guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to show how to play chess and the really basics. So I'm going to start off with the pawn. These are the pawns on the second row, and every pawn is worth 1 point of material, which is something you should remember. And on its first move, it can choose, which is very special, to go 1 square or 2 squares forward, and only on the first move. You'll notice that black will play a random move, 1, and now the pawn can only go 1 square. Now, the pawn captures diagonally, so the pawn cannot capture like this. It can only capture diagonally 1 square, again. And you are not forced to capture, but you can. So, the pawn is worth 1 point. Now we have the knight. And the knight is a very special piece because it is the only piece that can hop through pieces. My example is, we see this pawn, the knight is going to hop over it because the knight goes in an L shape. So it starts like this, it goes 1, 2 up, and then goes to the right. The same thing, it can also go 1 up and 2 to the right. So for example, the knight could also go here now, but it could not go on a space where there is already a piece of Europe. And the knight is worth 3 points of material, so it is better than a pawn. And now we are going to show the bishop. Now, as you can see here, the bishop cannot move, so we have to do a move to free it. Now, there's a good thing and a bad thing about the bishop. So the good thing about this bishop is how we see it can control this lovely diagonal here, and it attacks everything in its way. But the downside is that it can only stay on one color. So no matter where it moves, the bishop will always stay on a light square. Same thing for the black bishop. It will always stay on a black square. So that is the drawback, but bishops are also very nice. They are equal with knights because they are also worth 3. Now, a bishop captures like this. It captures anything in its path, and it cannot skip over pieces. For example, the bishop cannot take this pawn over here because there's a pawn in the way on g5. So, now we're going to talk about this rook. The rooks are worth 5 points of material, and they are one of the best people in the game. Now, we're going to start out with developing so we can get our rook into the game. So we're going to play a bunch of moves. Now, this is also a very important rule, castling. Castling is a king and rook move that gets your rook into the game and is safe and helps your king. So it is also a rook move. Now, the rook is worth 5, and the rook can go as much as it wants up or to the side. So for example, let's say we want to clear the board in a moment. Okay, and white will go here, and we're going to start exchanging. Now, as you can see, the rook can go here, or anywhere. Now, the rook can capture anything in its path, so this pawn here can get captured. So that is the rook. Now, finally, and probably the second most important piece, is this queen. The queen is worth 9 points of material and is the strongest piece on the board. The queen can move diagonally like the bishop, but also can move like the rook. And it can change colors. So that is why the queen is actually a very good piece. And I would not give it up if I were you. Now let's talk about some of the best ways to play. So there's 3 things we need to know. 1, the object of the game is to basically, quote unquote, eat the king. So for instance, I play here, and my queen goes out, and whoops, I lost it for a pawn. I'm still able to play and I can still win. But if my king is there's something like this is checkmate. Because my king, anywhere my king moves, the only square on F2 here, it'll get eaten. And once the king is eaten, the game is over. Which means it is very important to keep your king safe. Also, these 4 center squares, you see, this one, these 4 where all the pawns are at, they're the best, any piece there has the best chance and best opportunity there because they are very active. So white will usually place a pawn in the center to control some of it, and black will too. Now, this is stage 2. What you want to do is you want to develop your pieces. Here, your pieces really have no purpose on the back rank, not doing anything. So you want to develop them and give them more options. Now, as you can see here, white is attacking this pawn, so black will normally defend it, also developing a piece. Now, we saw that on here, on G1, white only had 3 knight moves. But now that it's moved into the center, or closer to the center, it has 4 moves. Or 5, actually. 1 taking the pawn. But I want to know why taking the pawn is a mistake. It's a mistake because the knight is worth 3 and the pawn is worth 1. So if black's a good player, he'll be able to take back. And now black is up 2 points of material right there, which is not very good. So we don't want to do this trade because it's not a good trade. Now white will develop a piece. Also getting ready to castle, which is a good move. Black will either respond with getting his bishop here or something like this. Now, some people may blunder a pawn because now black can take, but you can just defend your pawn. And now black may bring his bishop here, and now you both are going to castle your king to safety. So, that is a couple of tips I have for the opening and really how to play and the goal of the game, which is checkmate, of course. If you guys want harder videos or for more experienced players, just comment down below, and I hope you all enjoyed this.